Hey there, welcome back to The Soul Current with Lisa D. Before we begin, let me ask you something, and I really want you to think about it and give an honest answer. Have you ever felt yourself reaching for change? You felt yourself reaching for something different, only to slip back into old cycles? Maybe you've read all the manifestation books. You've read everything about frequency and vibration and raising those up so you can attract the life you've always desired. You've journaled, you've meditated, you've done the yoga, the breathing. You've said the affirmations, you've watched the self-help videos, right? And for a moment, you actually do feel awake. You might even feel alive and vibrant because you're hopeful. But then life tends to get heavy, as it does for everyone. And that old you resurfaces. All the books go away, things end up on shelves, you stop watching the videos, you stop doing the meditating. If that's you, you are not broken. You did not fail. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You were simply never taught about the part that actually comes before all of that stuff does. Before any of those resources can work in our lives, there is a part that comes before that. And it starts with something called the stirring. Now, if you haven't listened to episode 1, I would encourage you to press pause right now and go listen to episode 1 because I go into a lot of detail about what the stirring is. What it is, why it's there, when it shows up, how to deal with it. All of that is in episode 1. So today we're going to go a little bit deeper because once the stirring reaches a certain point, something profound happens, and that is called the awakening. So the stirring is the doorway to the awakening, but this isn't just poetry. Yes, it is a concept mentioned in many historical texts and biblical texts, everything from the Bible to the Kabbalah to Greek mythology, certainly. It is a massive, massive concept, and it has been around for thousands of years. And it is the essential first step before you ever get to manifest. This is the soul's call to rise up. Now, before awakening arrives, I'll give you a quick recap of the stirring. Usually it comes as a subtle whisper inside of you. It's a spiritual restlessness, if you will. That was huge for me. I was very restless, waking up thinking there's got to be more. I was going to bed thinking just over and over. It was replaying in my mind. I was very restless about it. It might show up for you as a dissatisfaction with who you've been or who you used to be. You might be like, for my whole life, I've always done this. Maybe you're a lawyer. You've always loved law. But for some reason now, you're dissatisfied with that version of yourself. And it can lead to a lot of confusion. Sometimes even sadness. You think there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's many people on the planet who are supposed to go through a spiritual journey, who need to align with a higher version of themselves. Not everyone does. That's why some people can get into a job and stay there for 30 years and also live in the same house for 40 years, and they never feel that inner pull for more. Not everyone is designed to be on this path. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. It means you're destined for something grand in this lifetime. You might feel a pull towards something that you can't yet define. You don't know what it is, but you feel like something big's coming. There might be a sensitivity to things that you never even noticed before. You know, now when you bite your nails, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like you never picked up on it before, but now you can't help but do that. And for others, it's simply a whisper. It's a whisper in the back of their head that says, there's so much more to life than this. I feel like I should be doing something more. And what you can recognize here is it's the trembling before the shift. Okay, I want you to recognize it as that. It is gentle. The stirring is quiet. But the thing with the stirring is it's persistent. It just plays in your head over and over and over again. And you're going, what is wrong with me? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. You're experiencing exactly what you're supposed to. And when the stirring grows too strong to ignore, that, my friends, is where the awakening begins. So right now, take a nice, deep, slow breath right here. Are you ready? I am ready. Let's rise. Here's what I want you to understand about the awakening. It's not peaceful. Okay, so like the stirring is gentle and soft and it's like this little whisper in the back of your head. The awakening, it's not peaceful. The awakening is the collision between the identity you built in order to survive and the identity your soul is now trying to birth. Wow. Isn't that crazy? So this is the awakening. I've got to say that again. The awakening is the collision. There are two things slamming into each other. The identity that you have built from this moment, right here, right now, all of your identity that you built in order to survive and maintain this life is slamming into the identity that your soul is now trying to birth. Isn't that amazing? I love that. Awakening is disruptive. You need to expect that. It's disruptive. It's uncomfortable, team. It's uncomfortable. It exposes everything that cannot follow you into your next chapter. Eckhart Tolle, amazing author, The Power of Now, amazing book. He describes his awakening as a breaking point, a moment where the old self simply could not exist anymore. And that's exactly what it is. And it's not pretty. It's tough. There's lots of tears and confusion and anger and restlessness and frustration. And you're trying to figure out what is going on. It's all part of the awakening. In fact, even in the Bible, it mentions the awakening. In Romans, there's a section that says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's how far back we're going with the concept of awakening. It is a huge movement, and not everyone on the planet will experience it. Renewal is not gentle. I don't think there's anything on the planet that renews itself and thinks, oh, that felt amazing. Usually, there's a bit of discomfort there because it's rewiring, it's reordering, and it's reconstructing the consciousness within us. Whew. That's quite the movement. Awakening is the moment your soul starts rearranging your internal world. And it's a trip, let me tell you. Now, the physical symptoms of this, are there any? Yes. Yes, there are. So you might want to write this down or save this podcast episode so you can remember what these physical symptoms are. And this part tends to surprise a lot of people because awakening is not just emotional and spiritual. Our body participates in this. So you might experience fatigue, not normal tiredness, but deep soul level tiredness. And that's because old emotional architecture, it's collapsing. So yeah, that can be tiring physically. Feeling cold, oh my gosh, this was me. From head to toe, I was freezing. I got up one morning at 4:30 just to jump in the bath. I was so cold. Many people feel cold during awakening phases. It's energetic, not physical. Your system is simply recalibrating. It's kind of cool, right? Sleep changes, waking up between 2 and 4. Both of my hands are in the air right now because that's me. I used to have to set an alarm to get up at 4. Now I just, boom, I wake up at 4. And I enjoy it. It's my time. It's my discipline to sit down, to journal, to reflect, to pray, to focus. You might experience vivid dreams. I had a combination of those, definitely. And when I say vivid, I mean sometimes they're so vivid, you're like, what was that? You know, you're flying as a bird with wings and like crazy stuff. And you might experience short sleep bursts. You sleep like 20 minutes, you're out like a light and poof, you wake up, but then you have another short burst of sleep, right? Sensitivity. You might have a sensitivity to sound, to people, to environments. There's a book I'm in the middle of reading right now. Oh, it's so good. If you've not heard about it, I highly recommend you read it because it's a very ancient script, but it's really good. It's called The Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross. It describes this process as the stripping phase. It's the part where the soul detoxes from its old attachments. Isn't this amazing? And to think that we could bypass all of this and just read a manifestation book. You can't. You can't manifest with the old version of yourself that's trying to create a new thing. Like it doesn't make sense, right? It's like trying to get healthy, but thinking you can eat McDonald's every meal, every day, nonstop, right? You can't. It's the same type of thing here. Now, the stripping phase, it's the part where the soul detoxes from its old attachments, which means you're going to feel that. That's going to be felt. And yeah, the physical sensations are signs that your new spiritual architecture is forming. It's forming within you. This stuff excites me. I love this. It's like new information that allows us to understand where we're at in our spiritual journey and where we're going. Because guess where you're going? Yeah, you're going to the life you've been dreaming about having. And we're going to get to how and why and all of that in the upcoming episodes. Right now, I just want you to focus on understanding that if you're in the spiritual phase, the awakening phase is coming next. If you're in the awakening phase, now you have a name for it. You have a name for all of those things you've been experiencing. You might have emotional waves. So the awakening is emotionally intense. It was exhausting for me emotionally. And that's because you're thawing out from years of suppression. That's the best way to say that. You're thawing out from years of suppression. So you'll have sudden tears. Yeah, and you don't know where they're coming from. And you think there's something wrong. I went to bed and I was fine, but I woke up and I was feeling really sad. And the next thing I know, massive teardrops are falling from my face. Why? You might experience waves of joy or irritation at what you used to tolerate. You might feel grief for old versions of yourself or a sense of emotional rebirth. You might also experience all of that, a combination of those, one or two of those. You are not unstable, my friends. You are not unstable. You are becoming alive. Isn't that great? I love it. St. John of the Cross, he called this holy discomfort. Again, you have to read this book. It's just an amazing book. It's the emotional shedding required before illumination. Awakening is the passing of the old and the unveiling of the new. I love it. Now, there are mental and spiritual shifts as well during this awakening phase. And it also is where the awakening deepens. And you'll know you're there because your priorities shift. You no longer desire what drains you. You don't want it anymore. Your intuition starts to strengthen. You start knowing things without knowing how. By the way, this happens to everyone, not a select few, not a lucky few, everyone that goes through this journey. You might have some of these, you might do all of these. Your identity dissolves. Your old self feels foreign, almost like a memory. It's like you're looking back on someone. You're like, was that me? There's synchronicities that just appear. Repeating numbers is a big one. Yes, for me, absolutely. Names keep showing up. And perfect timing. The amount of times I would experience something and in my head I'd be like, oh, that's weird. I don't understand why these tears just come out of nowhere. And then as I continued reading and researching, it's like, you might experience random tears. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. I was just thinking that. And you'll experience your own synchronistic moments. And what this really is the soul reorientating you. Your perception is expanding, my friends. Your awareness is widening. And your spiritual senses are activating. If that is exciting to you in the middle of your chest, if you're hearing these words and getting tingles somewhere, a deeper part of you is now feeling this. So how do you move through awakening successfully? Here's how you can navigate awakening without resisting it. Grounding rituals. A lot of breathing work. That's where all that yoga, if you were doing that, is going to come into play. But lots of count in for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. That's a great way. And do that 3 times. You'll feel the calm wash over you. I pray a lot. It helps immediately. Like I feel a wash of calm. Journaling is a big one. Silence is another one. You just have to find what works for some people. It's listening to very soft music. Some people it's closing their eyes and listening to guided meditations. It's grounding rituals. Find the one that works for you. Allowing emotional waves. Yes. They do come. Trust me, they come. They wash over you. You feel things deeply. Just let them teach you. That's all you have to do. Let them teach you that it's rising to the surface. It's making itself known. And all you have to do is go, I can release you now. I don't need you for this next part of my life. It's okay. Oh, you can go. I release it to whatever higher power you believe in. The universe, angels, God, whatever it is for you. Release it. Moving slowly is another good one. Awakening cannot be rushed, and you really need to understand that. You can't hurry it up along. It's all working in beautiful timing. You don't need to worry about that. That's just one thing you can take off your plate. Follow the steps and allow the timing to unfold as it's supposed to, because it will. It will. You need to be radically honest. What is no longer aligned with who you are becoming? You need to be radically honest. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend, the home you live in, the place you work. Be radically honest with yourself. What is no longer aligned with the person you're coming? What's real in your life? And you can ask yourself that by saying, you know what, the love I have for these people is real. The joy I feel when I'm surrounded in this particular environment is real. What isn't real? You know what? I show up every Tuesday to this thing, whatever that is, and I can just feel that none of us are being honest with each other. You got to be radically honest and write it all down. And you want to stay embodied. So stay firmly within yourself. What does that mean? Walk, stretch, place a hand over your heart with your eyes closed and feel it. You have to understand awakening is spiritual. Yes, but it happens through our body. It is a spiritual birth. And it is profound and it is beautiful. And it means that you're one of the people on this planet who has received the invitation to now step into the version of yourself you were always meant to be. In order to do that, we need to rise up on a whole new spiritual level. It's an exciting journey, but it's not over there. It doesn't end. That's not where it ends. Here's where you want to take one more deep breath with me. You ready? Because this next part really matters. Awakening is not your destination. It is your doorway. It is the moment the inner shift stabilizes. I'll say that again. It's the moment the inner shift, everything that's going on inside you, finally stabilizes and you enter the next phase, and that is alignment. Alignment is where your new identity begins shaping your external reality. Yeah, that's where we're going. It's where your energy draws new opportunities, your boundaries shift, your relationships evolve, your intuition becomes a guide, and your path becomes very clear. But here is the unfortunate truth. Many people, in fact, most people, never reach alignment. And why? Because awakening feels too unfamiliar, too intense, and too uncontrollable. Nothing comes easy, right? That's like when you go to the gym and you want to lose weight and you want to get in shape, you just don't want to do the work. It's too hard. It doesn't feel good. And yet, if you stuck with it and you push through, you'd get to the end result, the desired goal. And it's no different here. You can't give up when you're in alignment and it's uncomfortable and it's hard and it's exhausting and uncontrollable and unfamiliar and too intense. Stick with it. The end is worth it. Many people retreat back into old versions of themselves. I was one of them, over and over and over again. And so what pops up? What pops up in the awakening that tends to make us sabotage ourselves? That's where episode 3 comes in. The number one self-sabotaging pattern that people fall into. If you are in awakening, you will experience fear. You will experience self-doubt. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But now that you know it, I'm going to give you some tools, suggestions, some help, some guidance to see yourself through it so we stop walking away in the middle of the awakening phase and we can see ourselves through it to finally reach alignment and become the version of ourselves we see in our mind. I will teach you how to stabilize spiritual energy, how to integrate your new identity, and how to walk in your new vibration. That's all coming up in the next several episodes. Episode 3 is going to be learning about how to deal with fear, how to deal with self-doubt, and how to make sure we don't fall into it and believe the things that are going on inside our head. Thank you so very much for joining me today. Please be sure to check out my YouTube channel. It's called The Soul Current with Lisa D. There you will find guided meditations, some guided visualizations, journal entry writing. I've got an ebook coming and I'm working on my very first book, aptly entitled The Soul Current. I thank you so much for spending some of your day with me. Your awakening has already begun. Until next time, keep rising. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel, The Soul Current Podcast with Lisa D. Over there, we have guided meditations, guided visualizations, some journal entry suggestions, daily exercises you can use to help keep you on track and see you through the movements and experiences you're going through. That's The Soul Current Podcast with Lisa D on YouTube. Thanks for listening.